What if you could help others to find the power to heal themselves? Physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
When I started teaching my classes, it was in 2002, and I was just doing the past life regressions and contacting the subconscious part. But then as the time went on and we found how powerful this was and what we could do with it, a lot of the students began saying, you know, advanced past life regression doesn't really tell what it's all about. This is so much more than that. We think you should change the name. So it was a few years ago we decided to change the name to Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And this is the healing technique that we've now been teaching it, well, since 2002, that's 12 years.
What if you could time travel with them? Visit mythical places or angelic realms, other worlds, other galaxies. Help others to speak to their higher selves. You can. Dolores has taught thousands of people from across the world how to use QHHT, and now you can learn her method by going directly to dolorescannon.com. And don't forget to mention the discount code MORETALKS. Hi guys, and welcome to another edition of the Kevin Moore Show. Now on today's show, I'm about to be joined by my guest, Charmian Redwood. Now Charmian Redwood is a channeler and also specialises in hypnotherapy. Now I had a hypnotherapy session with her while staying in Los Angeles and filming my documentary, and I've put that hypnotherapy session at the end of this video for those who might be interested in watching that, because I think in general there was a message for everyone in that session that I had for myself. So just to give you a bit of background on Charmian, in 1980 Charmian Redwood had a near-death experience in which she returned to oneness and remembered who she was. Now Charmian is trained in transpersonal hypnotherapy and has developed her own system of using hypnosis to help clients experience their own divine self and receive information about whatever issues they have in their own lives from their own higher self. Now clients reconnect to their multidimensional selves from other star systems and other dimensions and experience themselves as powerful creative beings. Now when you connect to your divine essence and realize who you truly are, your life is forever changed. So enjoy my interview with Charmian. Well, Charmian Redwood, thank you so much for joining us.
You're very welcome, and I'm very glad that I'm very honoured that you would invite me.
Well, I've known of your work before. You know, we've met a few times, and you know, while I was here in Los Angeles, I thought, well, I've got to interview you, and I've had a few sessions with you, and I've thought they've always been very rewarding, very deep actually. The last one was very deep. I'm going to release that last session that we did together. It'll be at the end of this interview. Actually, the funny thing is the video didn't last, but we've got the audio, so we'll play the audio part of that. But just getting into the beginning part of this interview then, if you can just unpackage just how a session with a client works, because I think that will answer quite a few questions that I have as well.
Okay, so my name is Charmian Redwood, and what I have developed is a way of using hypnosis, which includes connection to the divine soul self with past life regression, with forward progression into the future. So what I do with people, it's like a roadmap. First I take them to experience themselves as divine, pure essence, as soul, as higher self. And then when we have that experience, and then that part of yourself that is your divine essence, who knows everything about you, past, present, future, who you are, why you're here, that part of you then is able to communicate directly to you, and you are speaking as your soul to your ego personality self. So for most people, that's a completely mind-expanding experience when you realize how powerful you are, how many resources you have in terms of creating your own reality. Then it really shifts your perspective on what you're doing here. So the next thing is that we bring that God self, divine self, into the physical body as a light. As usually people see it as a golden light body. And we let that infuse into the physical body. And then we look at where is it being resisted. Where are the programs being held? Where are the negative emotions being held? It's often around the organs, the heart, the lungs, the liver. Anger is stored in the liver. So then we release all of that stuck energy. And we look at, if you have any issues in your life, we look at what is the cause of them. And it's the soul or the divine self that guides the whole session. So say you have an issue to do with relationship, that you're not able to have a positive relationship that actually works, then we will go into what was the original cause of that, which may take us into past life regression, quite often does, and then, or it could be childhood. So then we work with that energy. Basically, we are calling forth the wounded aspects of ourselves that we carry within us for millions of lifetimes, even stuff from way back. We're carrying imprints of everything that has ever happened to us. So every trauma that we have experienced in the hundreds of thousands of incarnations that we've been here has an imprint on our body. And together they set up a life view about what your expectations are about being in a physical body on this earth at this time. Life sucks, relationships suck, money is hard, life is hard, I don't deserve, all of that stuff. So there's like an accumulation of trauma that is totally conditioning your life experience. Everything that you have a belief about is going to show up in your physical life. And a lot of these beliefs, traumas, buttons that we have are, in fact, I'd say most of them are actually nothing to do with this lifetime. We have contracts with people from other lives where we have issues that were not resolved. So they show up in this life, and pretty much you replay the same scenario. One's the master, one's the slave, one's the controller, one's the victim, all of that kind of stuff. And we think we're doing it for the first time. But believe me, every single person that is in your life is there because you have either some unfinished business, or you have something to do here together in this life. So then we clear all of that out. And then, now that the soul is in the body, I ask the soul, so how do you want to be expressed in this person's life? Because when you make that connection to your soul essence, and you feel that connection, and you have the communication, then it does completely change the way your life is being directed. So then we go into the future, and that's where the progression comes in. We look at what your life is going to look like in 1, 5, 10 years' time, when your soul is much more present consciously in the body than it is now. And then when we see that, what it looks like, and then I ask that future self, how did this person get from where they are now to where you are? So then they give them the steps, and so that's when you find out what you need to do, how you need to make changes in your life, even if you need to take a class or learn a new skill or change your occupation. So doing this work for over 30 years now, I've worked with thousands of people, and I just can't tell you how life-altering it is. This is what people say to me. And it's nothing to do with me. It's when you realize that I am not this small body, that I am this enormous, powerful, creative being, and I can do anything I want with my life, and nobody is going to tell me different. So people just start to empower themselves, and that is really why I do this work, because I want people to get the answers that they need from themselves, not me telling them. I could do readings for people, but I would much rather guide them to get their own answers, because then it's totally authentic to them. It's not just me telling them, you need to do this, that, or you're going to be doing this, that. It's them actually experiencing it. So it completely shifts the way people feel about themselves, about their family situation, their work situation. Often it's a health issue that brings them to me, and we look at why has your soul created this. It's never random. Nothing is just victim that you're being punished. You're never being punished for anything. You are experiencing something that your soul wishes you to learn from. So if we're not listening, if we're not hearing what our soul is trying to gently say to us, then we get hit with much bigger things, like a life-threatening illness or a divorce or something that literally stops our world and makes us pay attention. So this is what I've been doing now for a long time, and I'm just so honored to be able to do it.
Thank you so much just for going through that and unpacking that for me and the audience. So if someone wants to get a reading with you, there's probably many ways to do that.
Yeah, so I do these sessions on video conferencing. I use either Skype or Zoom, so I can do them at any time, anywhere in the world. And I also do them in Oxnard, which is very close to Los Angeles, in person, which is where I live. I can also do them on the phone. You don't have to have a computer. Just with the computer we can see each other, but apart from that it really doesn't make any difference. We record the session, I send you the recording, or if we're on Zoom and you're on a laptop you can record it directly, and then you use that session as a meditation to reinforce everything that we've just brought in the session. So the session brings in the information, it's an activation, very much a vibrational shift, but then listening to it repeatedly is what helps to ground all of those new frequencies into your mental and emotional bodies.
So every client that you see, they've all got something unique they come with, and a kind of unique issue maybe, or you do get some people with the same issues, but I suppose the answer's always different underneath.
Often people come with similar issues, and because each person has a very unique history, you know, only you have lived your particular series of stories. So then the places that we go to find the answers will be very different. Because for a lot of people, for instance, the relationships that people are in this lifetime might be a throwback to Atlantis or to Lemuria or to slavery in America. So that's where the variety comes in, because everybody has a different route for the issues that they're having now.
And one thing you do as well is you sort of will kind of interview the client before the session. You'll get to know what it is they're looking for, what angle, just get to know a bit about them. But I think when you're doing the regression session, which I've had with you, it's very much like, I would use the word, you're sort of channeling a part of yourself through with them as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I tune in to the person's energy, so I'm actually doing the journey with them, and then I just kind of feel where we need to go with it. So we have the broad outline that we connect to the soul, and we go into some kind of past life, and then we look at the programs and we go into the future. But for some people it might be completely different. If I feel that we need to go off and do something else, or the client suddenly goes into a completely different experience, then I follow. I'm kind of listening, and then I will follow where I feel that we need to take it.
Yeah, because when I did my session with you, man, it went so deep. You know, I felt like I went to experience what happened to the Godhead, and that it actually gave its own self, its own life, for us to have this experience, and it was looking at rejoining itself at some finite end of whatever all this is. I mean, whether that's true or not, it helped me to get my understanding of what the nature of this reality is a bit. That we are all God. We are all this source, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, we were all birthed from the original source. In my channeling, sometimes it comes through that there's like a father-mother aspect to the source that gives birth to us. So we are created as these beloved children, and then we're given free will to totally screw up and make a big mess of our lives. And like the good parents, they would like us never to suffer, but they know that we only learn through experiencing and through taking a risk. So they're always there with this container of love, but within that they let us do all the strange things that we choose to do.
And that's so true. I felt my aha moment of being with you just recently was, and maybe I knew this before, but it just makes so much sense being in your home, maybe, right? That they're always there for us, no matter if you've gone to prison or done some heinous crime or whatever it may be, right? If you're willing to change, it's always, this energy is always there, whatever you want to call it. God, the groups that we work with, they are always ready to you know, rejoin.
And that, especially I get that message from the Divine Mother. She said, what parent would give birth to a child and then abandon it? So they're always waiting for us to ask for help. And no matter what we've done, it really doesn't matter, because we have to go through experiences that we choose as a soul in order to learn. Unfortunately, some people can only learn about love by experiencing its opposite. Same thing with peace. You learn about peace by experiencing war. So they would not choose for us the path that we have chosen, but they're always there just loving us. Like with a child, they love us unconditionally no matter what we do. And the thing they say the most is to stop beating ourselves up with self-punishment, because we're way harder on ourselves than any of our guides, teachers, angels are. They really want us to stop beating ourselves up and to just really love ourselves.
In all the sessions you've done, what's the most important message that comes through, do you think?
When people experience themselves as pure soul, it's completely eternal, it's unconditional, and everybody experiences the same thing: complete love, contentment, and peace. And they realize this is what's real, and I can have this, I can create this.
With your work, do you find that you've had personal sessions yourself from other people?
Oh, sure.
And I'm guessing every client that comes to see you must be a little bit of healing for you as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But one thing I've learnt on this journey, big time, since filming this documentary, because that's how we've connected as well, is the idea that most spiritual teachers don't actually live by their own teachings, right? They don't. I've just seen it again and again.
It's unfortunate, but it's true. But you see, because the way I came into this was through a near-death experience, where I experienced all this for myself. I experienced myself as part of this vast oneness. So I came back empty of self and just said, how can I help? There was no me anymore. So my only purpose now, and I said I want a way to take people to experience this complete expansion into oneness before they die, without having to have a dramatic, life-threatening thing like I had. So, so I'm just here to serve. That's all I'm here for.
What was that experience like? I mean, how real was that experience in going and crossing over to some other reality?
It totally changed my life. It was something that was completely outside anything that I could possibly have had in my brain. I'd never heard of such a thing. This was back in 1980. Now people are talking, and it's on YouTube and it's on TED Talks, you know, near-death experience. At the time, I'd never heard of it. So I didn't understand what had happened to me. But I knew that everything I had done up until that point in my life was completely meaningless. And that the experience I had of going back into the source and connecting with not just my essence, but realizing that there's no difference. There is one essence, and everything is it. A tree, a pebble, a moonbeam. Everything is the same substance. That was mind-blowing. Yeah, so now I just feel grace and grateful that I had that experience. It changed my life. Through it changed my career, so I stopped teaching school and I started to do this hypnosis work. And so it's changed many, many people's lives.
And here you are, sat in Los Angeles.
Yes, city of lost angels.
But you were called here.
Oh, absolutely. I thought I was coming because my daughter had a baby and I came for her birth, and then I've been here since helping. But when I got here, I was told that a group of light workers would meet here, would come together. And this is very much the other work that I do, and it's very much part of my mission here on the earth, is to bring together the teams that worked in Lemuria, Atlantis, Egypt, Druid Britain, Mayan, wherever, Native American, and to start them working again. So I was told that a very powerful group of people would be drawn here, would resurrect the Lemurian temples here and lift LA back to the angels where it is supposed to be. And it will be. It's a very powerful vortex, and there's some amazingly inspiring energy coming out through the media, like Avatar, and some of the animations are absolutely incredible. And then there's also the opposite. Whenever you get the light side, you always get the dark side. So there's a lot of greed and manipulation. But this is a powerful place, and it's attracting some very powerful people.
I feel that. I feel a pull here. I mean, I'll be honest, what always put me off was the bloody earthquakes, right? That's what put me off wanting to move here.
Yeah.
But I have to say that it doesn't put me off enough to... I feel a pull here. I can't explain it. I really can't explain it.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to say that. I thought, you know, when I've got readings from psychics before, they've always said, nah, you're going to go off the beaten track. You're not going to be in where you think you are. But that could also be off the beaten track in California as well.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
just I feel a pull. I feel what you're saying there is true.
Yeah. It is true of other places too. This is just one place that I'm being drawn to right now, but there are many other vortex places. But really, you know, I don't think it's my destiny to disappear down a big hole in the earth. It's not what I'm here for, and they're actually very few and far between. So
yes, yeah, absolutely. And one thing I really want to ask you as well is, with your hypnotherapy training, just where did you get trained? And
well, really, I just started doing it when I asked for a way to take people. When I had the near-death experience, first I found I could do laying on hands and take people's pain away. So I was just doing that for a long time. And then I just started talking to them while they were doing it. And first I was doing more regression, taking people back into trauma, but they were getting so upset. I said, no, I need a better way to do this. So that's when this whole thing of going to the soul plane first, where everything is whole, complete and perfect, and then bringing that down in. So I gradually just evolved it and refined it. And then after about 10 years, when I came to America, I actually did do a course in transpersonal hypnotherapy, which was the closest thing that I could find to what I was already doing.
because you felt that getting that qualification just enabled you to to put people at comfort that you were at least trained in that area.
People like you to have some kind of, but actually I all of the things I do, I've really just remembered from doing a million times in many temples and healing temples.
And let's just remind people, you've got a book out as well. Just tell us very briefly on that book.
Well, the first book was called Coming Home to Lemuria, and I wrote it while I lived in Hawaii, and it's all about how we first came to the earth, lived in oneness, harmony, peace. It's what the Bible calls the Garden of Eden, which was not one little place in Africa. It was like this whole continent, and it was before the fall. So we all lived in full consciousness and connection to our divine essence. We knew who we were. We could create anything that we wanted simply by focusing on it. And that's how we lived for countless amounts of time, because we were not really in linear time then. We were at first in fifth dimensional, then fourth dimensional, then eventually third dimensional vehicles. And then we had that experience of separating from our divine essence, experiencing separation, which was extremely painful. We had no idea how it was going to be. It's like we lost our superpowers. If you can imagine Batman or Superman losing their superpowers and suddenly becoming just an ordinary, like, android. We can't do any of these incredible things anymore. It's like, oh my God, why did we do this? But now, you see, now we're at the end of that cycle, fortunately. If we were at the beginning of it again, I think I would pick a different planet. I think I'd go back to Venus. But now we're at the other end of that cycle, where we are bringing it all back. The earth is returning to oneness. And as we came to the earth in oneness, we've already got the knowledge in our cellular memories of how to live from that place. So that's why we've all come back. It's why there's so many people on the planet right now, because pretty much anybody who has ever been here is showing up for the finale, because this is where we bring it all home. So the most important thing for any of us at the moment, if I could tell you just one thing to do, it's raise your vibration. Doesn't matter what it looks like, what technique you use, it's what works for you. And it's just living love. Whatever opens your heart, if it's puppies or babies or flowers, go do that. If it's singing, dancing, playing the guitar, go do that. Because the planet is starving for love.
Thank you for sharing that. And the one thing I want to add to that as well is that, you know, on my journey, it was quite confusing at some points where I'd be interviewing so many different people with so many different ideas. And in the end, I realized I wasn't really, where was my truth in all of that? You know, there's so many spiritual teachers. Where does one, you know, sort of discern between everything and all the sort of noise that's out there to what really is good for them?
You feel the love. If you don't feel the love, I don't accept anybody's message, even if they're telling me they're talking directly from God himself. I've had people accuse me of controlling people, or because I trigger egos often wherever I go. I seem to trigger, and I've had people who channel Divine Mother say, "Well, Divine Mother is telling me that you're bad," and then a week later she had to apologize because that was not Divine Mother, that was her. So discern. Don't accept anything that anybody says unless you feel the love and the humility. That's what I learned from having a Tibetan teacher very early on, is that some people, unfortunately, may have started off with good intentions, but then it's just really gone to their head and they're actually taken over by forces that want to keep us enslaved. So anyone who's telling you that you are powerless, that the government's controlling you, it's going to take you over, the world order's going to enslave you. Nobody's enslaving me. I don't give them permission. It's not going to happen. And what's the point of putting your focus there? It's just going to make you paranoid and afraid, which is what the darker energies would like. They want us to keep afraid so that they can control us. I want us all to lighten up, wake up, not be afraid, take charge of our own lives by realizing that we are the power. We are the divine. Nobody outside of you can make you do anything when you realize exactly who you are.
And these dark energies or forces, I mean, these are, whatever these are, they're a natural side effect of reality creation, I think. If you're going to have this type of reality which we've got, it's always going to make those polarities of hot and cold, good and bad. And good and bad is a judgment, really. You know, whatever these energies are, you know, they think they're doing the right thing. This is their truth, and they, you know, they're not wanting whatever ascension, or not ascension, but progression that we could
They
have.
don't want to. No, there's a difference. Really, the difference is the love of power or the power of love. You have to choose which one you want to play in. So there are some people here who have a lot of power, who would definitely like to keep it and want to keep us feeling helpless. And then there are other people who just want you to be the best that you can be for you, not for them. And those are our unconditionally loving family, allies, whatever it is. So it's very important. Let me tell you this. a couple of years ago, I was told that there are two spirals of energy on this planet. There is an ascending spiral, which is taking density back to the light. And then there is a descending spiral of all the hierarchies and the structures that have been using control to keep people down. Now this spiral is disappearing into itself because there's nowhere for it to go. This one is expanding. And that everybody on the planet has to choose, where do I want to put my energy? So me, I've chosen the one that's going up.
So if you had some practical advice just to give people watching this, what would that be?
I'd say turn off the news. We're bombarded with way too much information, and not all of it is helpful. Your reality is the way you choose to look at the world. So for me, I'm here to build the new world. I'm not interested in participating the demise of the old world. The old structures are falling. They're doing a great job of undermining themselves. They're just going to fall down with no help from me. So I am here to build the world that I want to see for my children.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that. Yeah, most definitely. Because, you know, in all my sort of experience in this field, I think we do create our reality. So if you wanted to create it one way, you can do, no problem. You think Earth is flat, go for it, mate. You know, whatever you want, whatever gets you going. But I would always point back to consciousness, you know, and that's the main reason why we're here and what we are. So if you can build on that and improve yourself in the ways that you just said there, and you know, and especially, you know, with the experimenting with the regression technique, I think everyone should have one at one point.
Oh yeah, because it's totally mind-blowing. It's like how it's kind of experience you might have some people experience it doing mind-altering drugs, but personally those are too harsh for my system. I can't tolerate them. So doing this hypnotherapy, it has the same effects. It takes you into a complete out-of-body experience, deep connection with what I call the real world, which is the divine. And then it gives you a different perspective on what's going on here.
It so does, and sometimes it may not be instantaneous change. It may be change over many months. So when you do that session with someone, because obviously I've done it in person, people can find you in person by coming to California, right? Just outside LA in a place called Oxnard. But if they want to do it remotely, they can do as well.
Oh yes, I do most of my work. I teach classes online, self-empowerment classes, and then I also do most of my sessions remotely. Yeah. Doesn't make any difference, because we're just going into the zone, so we can see each other on the computer, on the video, and we just go together into this shared experience.
And if there was any sort of connection lost in that experience, you know, if the internet was to dip in and out, people aren't, you know, stuck under regression, are they? They can bring themselves back out.
You know, that I'm glad you brought that up, because what I want to stress is that the patient is always in control of the session, and it is interactive. So they're talking to me, I'm talking to them. I am not controlling them in any way. They are not in a deep state where they don't know what's being done to them. So if for any reason the session was interrupted, they would just, like waking up from a sleep, they would just come into full normal waking consciousness.
So your website is?
Coming Home to Lemuria.com.
Okay, so that's how people can get in contact with you and book a session there as well. Well, that website's been coming up on the screen throughout our interview, and I'm just going to end this interview on my regression session with you, which doesn't have the video there, but it does have the audio, and I just wanted to share what I went through, because I think for me it was one of my more powerful regressions for myself, and I'm pretty sure this is going to help others as well. That's why I want to share it. So just thank you so much for what you do, and if there's any last message.
Well, I'd like to thank you for being willing to share your regression session, because it is a very deeply personal experience, and I'm just grateful for this opportunity to tell people how powerful they are. Never ever think that you are less than anybody. You are worthy. You have a gift to give to the world that nobody else can give, because nobody else has had your particular storyline. So you have a very important part to play in this transformation of the earth that nobody else is qualified or equipped for. So start doing it right now.
And that could be anything.
It could be anything. It could be holding babies at a hospital. It could be feeding the squirrels or the pigeons in the park. It doesn't matter what it is, it's just that it comes from the heart. Because what is killing this earth is hatred and separation and divisiveness. And what is going to heal it is love and recognition that we're all one family. So if I hurt anything out there, whether it's a plant or a worm, I'm hurting myself.
Charmian, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Bless you. Thank you.
It's like a daydream. Why am I back there? I think I'm being handed a message.
What does the message say?
It's time to stop dancing around and do. Dear Kevin, this is a dream that you are in. None of this is real. Even the way that this message is being delivered to you is not real. Hence the fogginess of the way the message is being portrayed right now. There are no definitive actual memories. Everything's a haze, because that is the nature of reality. Nothing exists except for this moment now, yet everything exists, yet nothing exists. This even the message is not there anymore. Nothing's there. I'm in space. But not space as I know it.
Are you in the void, the emptiness?
Yes.
So just feel yourself floating and expanding into that void. Long before any form, there was the void.
There is nothing. There is just awareness of the nothing. There is just awareness behind the awareness. I think I am the nothing, floating within myself. This is to show me just how real this all is. This is a regression session within the nothingness. It's to show that actually you need reality to happen. You need this reality of the earth experience in order for you to know yourself. Otherwise, nothingness does not know itself.
That's right. That's why it created form as a reflection of itself.
Wow, this is what nothingness feels like. It's absolutely nothing. Yes, now I get, now I understand. Wow, that's a bit boring. And lonely. And just nothing. Absolutely nothing. But nothingness is still that black color.
Well, it's the void. I call it black velvet space, but it's pregnant with all possibility.
Yes. Yes, you've been here. Although,
So let's feel that pregnancy.
whoa. Then there is everything.
There you go.
The universe. The magnificent universe. The infinite universe. It's so beautiful. Oh, wow. Yes. Yes. Okay. Nothingness is having an experience, but there's other nothingnesses. There's other aspects of the nothingness that's having experiences as well. There's not just this nothingness. Other nothingnesses are having their own experience. Other aspects of the nothingness is having its own experience. And then there's aspects within the aspects having their experiences. Wow. Ununderstandable. Ununderstandable.
So let's go into a specific aspect. Let's look at the divine essence of Kevin that was born in the void, that was created in the void, that spark of light that was born in the great womb that is the void. Let's feel him. The light that was born from the darkness. Can you feel that? Or see that?
Yes, it's an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
It's illusion eluding itself. It's a dream within an apparent state of deep sleep. The voidness is asleep, and it hasn't even woken up 1/10 from the nothingness. We are a fraction of expression of a deep sleep trance. Nothingness is asleep, yet we are the fraction of it, its awareness of its sleep.
But it's also its consciousness. We are its consciousness, whichever form.
It's asleep, and we are the form of its consciousness.
Mm-hmm. So let's explore that.
It is so vast and powerful in its sleep state.
It's like the in-breath and the out-breath.
Yes, we are an aspect of something much greater, and even the aspect of that greatness, let's look at that, the greatness that it is an aspect of the greatness of that which it is. And that which it is an aspect of the greatness of that which it is. And it continues. Now that may sound an illusionary aspect, but that is the nature of that which this sees. It is loving, and it is sedated to its own self in order to allow this expression to happen. It fell asleep. To allow this to take place, yet it is highly intelligent and highly aware. We are a tiny fraction of this unimaginable awareness, and in that tiny fraction, the all that is that's here now was created. Dimensions, realities, parallel universes. It's a fraction of something much, much bigger. Yet that which is kind of unaware, yet all aware. It's not a paradox as such. It's an allowing, to allow this to be. The blackness, there is a pinprick of light in this unlimited awareness of blackness, and that pinprick is all of the realities that this experience is. It's just so vast. I don't understand it. It doesn't understand it.
It can't be comprehended.
It's like it's almost not. Wow. It's incomprehensible.
So why did your essence bring you here to have this experience of the void? What did it want you to know or to understand about yourself?
That there is absolutely nothing to understand. And yet, our understanding as the pinprick of light is this itness. It's the itness's ability to wake up. It's the all that is. It's its ability to see the spark within itself. And when the sleeping giant awakens one day, it's the next evolution of the wonderment of infinitive consciousness. We are its pinprick of light. It's like starting a car engine. You kind of, on a cold day, start the cold engine and it just won't come to life. Maybe the battery's flat, or maybe there's some other engine fault developed from the coldness. But we keep turning that key and just maybe it comes and sparks to life. It went to sleep for us to know ourselves and for us to wake it back up. We are its hope. We are its future. It's wanting to evolve us and it. Our evolution is its awakening again. It's gone to sleep to know itself. Through us, by us allowing it to give it life if we so choose to do that. And if we don't do that, or if we don't make it in some way, it never cared enough for itself to ever have full awareness of itself ever again. But to give us our experience, it kindly gave its life for us in that sense. It may never wake up again to its fullness, but it was worth itself going to sleep for this subdividence in this miniature size of evolution which we are compared to the allness that it is, for it to have this experience. It gave its life for us. Wow. Good God. It killed itself off for us to be here.
Put itself to sleep is a better word, because nothing dies. It simply returns to a different...
Dead right now. It's dead of any awareness of
like
itself.
dormant.
Yes. I'm using human words here. It's completely dormant. The all that is completely dormant. We are all that exists of the all that is. Well, I say we are. I mean the multidimensional aspects and everything else, and all the parallel unit, everything that's contained within that tiny spark. But the rest is not. It's dormant. It's gone. It gave us that to have this.
Love, that was love.
It loved us so much to want to put itself to sleep to have this. Wow. That's the biggest self-realization I have ever had. I've never seen it expressed this way before. Oh my God. It's asleep. There's nobody at the wheel. It gave us the free will to steer it in that little pinprick. Oh my God, we are all alone, except with our multidimensional realities.
Except it's like a fractal, each piece contains the whole. Isn't that true?
The whole is asleep. Well, you could look at it like that.
Pregnant. It contains all possibilities.
Pregnant, but the baby's awake when the mother's asleep.
So let's explore the baby then.
We are the
Seeing
baby.
as we've been created as that spark that is
We are the
dark,
baby.
the void knowing itself through its creation. Let's explore that creation. So find the essence of your divine self within that spark that is all. Go to the source. Go to the all that is. Tell me what you experience that to be.
Right now, the all that is actually only available as a cut down version of itself in one sense. So actually the all that is much higher than the human evolution or the human perspective. So yes, there is multi-dimensional layers above layers above layers above layers, like Seth would channel to Seth 2, blah blah blah. There's layers above layers above layers. But the interesting part of this is the greater aspect of the all that is gone. It's dormant. It's not even asleep. It's purposefully switched itself off for us to have this experience. The greatness that you speak of when you say go to the all that is, in this pinprick of the universe, of the multidimensional universe, of all that exists in that pinprick, it is very high. It's a very high level. It's not to be mistaken that it's not a high level. So if I was to connect to the all that is, yes, it's God, but it's not God at all. It is hardly an aspect of the all that is, but it's very powerful at the same time and fully aware of itself, and is continuing its search to try to wake up the dormantness of the infiniteness. And that will continue because the awakening up of the dormantness of the infinitiveness that is the trueness of what this experience is the evolution. We are working on behalf of the great expansion to wake it up, our awakening will be the next evolution of the expansion. The expansion will become something more when we have finally grown out of the sparkness and awoken the all that is. It's an expansion that it was looking for, that it couldn't give or get anywhere else. Now what that expansion will be for the allness, what is the expansion of the allness when it becomes awaked again? Bear with us. Oh, it's alone. The allness is alone. The allness is alone. The allness is alone. And it's trying to figure out if, when it wakes back up, will it wake up at the same level, or will there be something more aware to the allness than that which it left itself at this state before it became asleep?
Does that depend on the spark?
Yes.
How the spark evolves.
How the spark evolves.
What we do with this opportunity.
But it's like undescribable in one sense of what the allness, the infiniteness of the absolute everything wants to be. How can that which is just knowing itself then become something more? That's what it wanted.
Because it's beyond words, but it's love. Feel it through the love. Because love can be everything, and only love can be everything.
Yeah.
So feel that in your whole being. You are born from that great love. To be love, you might say love in action. Loving, expressing itself and knowing itself. So what does love want to say to you now, to Kevin now?
But it's simple, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But it may not be the words you think we're going to say.
Mm-hmm.
The more you get to know about love, the more the more the source gets to know about love.
Mm-hmm.
And to make sure that its version of love towards itself was an authentic version, and whether it can grow in its understanding of love towards itself. And if love was all that the Oneness has or had before it went to sleep, then that's happy enough for it to stay as it was, a sentient, awareness of self? Can love evolve to something else? Is there love all that matters? Is love that all that is? And what is not love? And a spark was a more precarious way of carrying this experiment out. But do not mix the words of spark to not mean an awesomeness of infinite, massive intelligence, and in that spark, the spark is infinite, as your universe is infinite. Or so the illusion allows you to believe that that is so. What if you were having an illusion that the universe was infinite and that you were having this experience as a human being, so that a spark of all that is contained within it could feed back to that which is the all, the everything, the asleep and asleep, infinite, undescribableness that sleeps right now. Human words.
So let us explore then this spark that is going to turn back, return to the void, to help it to move to its next phase of evolution. What is the opportunity for us that this spark is bringing, offering?
You are in the spark. You are in the spark now. This is the home of the spark that you reside in. The opportunity is endless. The opportunity is infinite, what you can do right now. It's given itself this opportunity. He, she, it. It bears none of these resemblances. This invisibleness has given itself this opportunity, almost like ways to create new entertainment for itself. It was not very entertained the way it was, and this is much more entertaining to it if it awakens. And that's a hard one to swallow, because that which has set itself to such a deep level of sleep, you see, maybe sleep's the wrong word. It could be a dream. It could be we are in the dream of the all that is, and this is the spark of a dream. All this analogy that's been given right now is a dream of the all that is, and its way of giving you an understanding of what it may be without forcing its truth upon you.
But didn't you say that it brought us forth to have experience?
Of course. Of
so
course.
Let's have a look at what our particular arena. We are these humans on a third dimensional planet having the experience. So what is our purpose here in the whole journey of the spark and the sending forth from the void of these aspects?
It is simple. It is for consciousness, which is the consciousness of the spark. The spark is consciousness, and even if you looked away from the spark and looked at the wholeness of that which is asleep, as we call it right now, it is all consciousness. So the human experience is a way for the consciousness to evolve itself without being forced into thinking it's consciousness really that's creating all this. It's to give consciousness a separation from the spark. So the human fleshy experience gives consciousness, wraps consciousness around it. So it's like we use the analogy that this one uses. It's like consciousness puts on a spacesuit, but rather than exploring the human experience, it's almost using the human experience as a separation from the spark and a separation from the asleepness of the void, so that it can know itself in a very finite way. Its consciousness finitely knowing itself, separated from even the spark, so that when that finite atomical structure of consciousness then returns back to some aspect of the spark, it gets to know itself in ways that is not possible in other ways. It's knowing itself at a subatomic level, if you wish to call it that, so that it may progress and help towards the awakening of the mass of the allness. And it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Is that something to do with knowing itself by knowing what it is not?
Of course.
What it is
absolutely.
Not?
That's another fantastic way of putting it as well. And again, whose truth is this? It's yours, Charmian. Because you are the one that's asking the questions, and you are the one that's guiding this.
So I would like then to explore what is happening on the earth plane right now. Where are we in that journey of knowing who we are by experiencing who we are not? How is this part of the awakening?
You see, that's so good what you've said there. How is this part of the awakening of the allness beyond the spark? How does it all ripple out from all the multiverses, all the lives on different planets, and lives on different planets in the multiverses, the past, the present, the future lives, all this on top, of course, you see. How does that help towards the awakening? Very simple. Consciousness is getting to know itself through more conscious experience. As you become more consciously aware, then the consciousness evolves into ways that it couldn't do without such an experience. It is consciousness growing to higher dimensions of itself and expanding even its contrast as well at the same time. It's consciousness evolving to the point of an experience of itself, a reflection. It's a mirror. It's reflecting upon itself to reflect back. When you mirror something, that's when you get to see the full potential, and that's when you get to grow. A mirroring experience will help you to grow in ways that are not always so obvious when no mirror exists.
That's right. So, in a way, those of us in human form are also in a sleep state because we've forgotten who we are. So is somehow what we are doing down here, is that a reflection
of the above?
Being?
Absolutely. And we are not able to give you the full picture. You have to come up with that with yourself. But who are we? If there is something aware of itself, who is the awareness of that self when the higher selves are supposed to be asleep? We are aspects that have gained awareness beyond the consciousness that we speak to right now. We are you aware more than you are aware of yourself. And we have split off and not come back purposefully to help awaken other aspects of ourselves in a much more quicker defined way without forcing truth upon you. Even though our truth right now may change the truth of yourself, which is, in a case, a forcing, but done with free will and love. We have already made it to the point where you are seeking to get to, and we are waking up aspects of ourselves so that we can evolve even quicker and try to help the vastness awaken itself. There are pockets of us who are awakened and are coming through now. And that is what the channeling effect is, in a sense. We come through and call ourselves names. Well, you humans call us names. But we agree with the names and say, la 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 la, yes, of course, that is what the name is. Yet we come through because we are awakened aspects of ourselves. And it is more fun to come through and try to awaken the humans. See, we're not awakening the humans, we're awakening the consciousness within the human vessel. The human vessel is just a meat container for the consciousness to have an experience. And when you cross over and you come back to the other side, again, a human word just to help you keep up with us, actually, you're asleep to think that's the process. It's the process that's been given to you so far, but even that process is not the truth. Not our truth. Your truth, but not the awakened aspect's truth. Awakened aspects of Source do not have the truth you have, because we have awoken and we are trying to awaken up the other aspects. That's why this message comes through right now. Probably quite confusing in some respects, and maybe not to yourself. He says, you see, even this one we come through now, there's even free will for him, in the sense of, will he keep up with us, will he not? And he is with us and not with us at the same time. And he says, there, because he's just had a remembrance of actually what he's supposed to be doing.
What is that?
Where we'll talk with him, but through him.
Okay.
Bringing through the next level of information for this planet. He's resisting us right now because he hates what we're about to say. Get out the way.
It's still his free will, once he's heard it, whether he wants to pursue it, accept it, ignore it, or...
This one. Yes, it's still his free will, absolutely. Let's just
I mean, he needs to know that.
well,
so
it would be useful if he could just...
He can allow the message, it doesn't have to be...
Out the way. Out the way. Okay, here we go. Thank you. There has always been those that have come to your planet. Some have called them prophets, some have called them sages, some have called them masters, evolved masters, conscious masters. Some have called them Christ consciousness. Such human words. But we were there at one point as well, so, you know. It is his job to show the humans the next evolution of the spiritual work, and to show that there's a vastness above that which has been brought out in this current timeline. And he will instigate others to do the same work, because it's time to get off the merry-go-round now, and now look beyond the teachings that have come through in the current time period that you find yourself in as this message comes through right now. There is an evolution of the work, and the evolution will be the reaching of the point to where we come through, to where we come from. We come from as highly evolved spiritual aspects of where you can potentially reach as well. We wish you to reach these aspects because we wish to evolve to try to get to the next level of consciousness, so that we can evolve the whole process of waking the sleeping giant up. That's what's really going on here, and that's also what's really not going on here as well. There's a paradox for you, because to give you the full truth is not going to help anybody right now. We would still say it's our truth, even saying what we've just said now, that there is a sleeping giant, that there is the allness, the undescribable aspect of what this all is, this huge, infinitive sleeping giant. And there's also more aspects to that as well. What's been shared right now is a grain of sand on an infinitive beach. But this is a sharing of information for him that will help him see an even bigger picture to what this is. And the sleeping giant analogy of the infinite blackness is a great analogy to share with you humans. And it also shows as well that we are you, you are us. We use the word you humans because the group that comes through right now sees this as a way to prod you without forcing truth upon you. We would say that you are us, you can be us, awakened. And actually it's a great awakening, because then it takes you to the next level of this work, which is to awaken further levels above towards the sleeping infinite monster, loving monster, shall we say, that gave us this experience. We wish to push the start button soon for that which is this infinite creation which allowed us to have the spark. We are the spark in the infinite. The infinite is fully asleep. And to us, the infinite is dead, in the sense that there is no life. Nothing lives there, but it is there. It has just gone into a state of nothingness. And it did this for you and us to have this experience. It is one of the great paradoxes.
Is it allowing us freedom to evolve work it out ourselves? Is that part of the...
Yes, it gave ourselves the freedom to do that because it loved us. And that's when it disappeared.
So it didn't want to influence us, it wanted us to figure it out.
It wanted to figure it out.
Yeah.
And when people say there are gods upon gods upon gods upon gods, of course there is. But there's also the absolute all. And so when people say they're channeling source, of course they are. But it is just an aspect. It is not the everything. The everything has dissolved itself temporarily. And it makes us sad. But we still have a great time as well. Sad that it is gone. Great times that we may be able to reawaken it again.
So if Kevin is here on this earth to help with this evolution of consciousness, so that you can also evolve to your next level of consciousness, what is the vehicle that he is to use to accomplish this?
We love your questions. Thank you. Yes. We have just given it to him in this teaching. For no one can ever take away the truth that he brought through right now. It is recorded and documented. He brought this truth through, and others have as well. But the way that he's brought it through shows an evolution or a difference. And he's to go out there and to push people to show their differences to what's already been brought through. It is that simple. Push yourself to bring something newer out than that which already is out there, because otherwise nothing's evolving. Like your work's about to evolve. And you're going to get patients through that are also going to bring through deep information like this one. Because you are evolving as a person, and that's why we brought you both together. It seems a strange thing. You think to yourself, why me? Why has this all come to me? Good question. We would say he was contracted to do this. And you're very grounded. You may say that you've made mistakes in the past. We don't care. It's where you are in this moment now. We love you very much.
Thank you.
So, to answer the question even further, channeling.com will bring this message through. Why do you think he gave it to himself? And the regression sessions, he's going to bring a new evolvement of the work. But he knew this anyway. We're just telling him what he already knew. And all the other work he's going to do as well. We've given him an imprint now of the vastness of what this potential may be. As you hear what we say, what this potential may be. This is only maybe with the truth that we have. This does not mean it's the actual truth. Take nothing of what we say. You have to come up with your own truth. But we would say this is a good starting point, that which we have given now, because it shows such infinite expansionness. And it also shows as well how loving this allness was to do what it did, to give itself to the spark. Pretty loving in our perspective. How much more love would you want than that? But you can go further. This is just our truth. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. The final message. He's going to channel this message to the world. That which has just been given now will be his channeled message to the world. We give him this gift and we leave him in love and light.
We thank you for the blessing of your presence, for the guidance that you have given Kevin. We are truly grateful. We love you. We look forward to our reunion.